Have you ever watched someone do something that made absolutely no sense to you? And you thought to yourself, what is going on with that person? Maybe someone got completely defensive when you were genuinely just trying to help them. Or maybe a coworker made a decision that seemed totally irrational. Or maybe someone in your life keeps resisting a change that would clearly make things better for them. Or maybe you have caught yourself doing something and thought, why did I just do that? If any of that sounds familiar, you are exactly in the right place. Welcome to this series called Make People Make Sense. I am so glad that you are here because what we are about to explore together is going to completely change the way that you see people, including yourself. This first video is the foundation for everything that follows. So stick with me because by the end of this series, the people in your life are going to start making a whole lot more sense. So let's start with the real question. Why do people do things that seem to make no sense? Someone gets defensive when you offer to help. Someone made what looked like a completely irrational decision. Someone resisted a change that would have genuinely benefited them. Someone said one thing and then turned around and did the complete opposite. Or maybe you have asked yourself, why did I do that? These are not random, isolated moments. These are patterns, and they happen all the time in every relationship, in every workplace, in every family. And the reason most of us struggle to understand behavior is because we are looking at it completely the wrong way. Here is what most people do. They try to understand behavior by looking directly at the behavior. They watch the actions, listen to the words, analyze the decisions, and observe the reactions. And then they try to figure out what it all means. But here's the problem. Behavior alone almost never explains behavior. Think about an iceberg. You are standing on a ship and you see the top portion sticking out of the water. The visible part represents the actions, the words, decisions, and reactions that we can see. But the massive part of the iceberg, the part that determines everything, is completely hidden beneath the surface. Behavior is the clue, not the cause. If you keep focusing on what you can see, you will be missing the real story. So what if you have been looking in the wrong place this entire time? The real causes of behavior are almost always hidden. They are beneath the surface. Things like beliefs, which are stories that people tell themselves about how the world works. Emotions, because people are emotional beings first and logical beings second. Fears, which quietly drive human behavior more than most people realize. Past experiences, because our history shapes how we interpret everything that is happening right now. Our needs, because every person has deep needs that influence every choice they make. And goals, which are sometimes hidden even from the person themselves. Hidden causes create visible behaviors. And once you start looking below the surface, everything starts to make sense in a way that it never did before. This brings me to what I want to share with you throughout this entire series. I call it the Hidden Forces Method. And the foundation of it is this: people do not act randomly. Behind every single behavior is a set of hidden forces that are shaping what people think, what they feel, what they believe, how they decide, and ultimately what they do. Every behavior has a story, and when you learn to read that story, when you learn to look for the hidden forces instead of just reacting to the surface behavior, your entire experience of people changes. You stop being confused. You stop being frustrated, and you start understanding. And understanding is where everything gets better. Let me show you what this actually looks like in practice. Imagine that two people are arguing. This is probably not too hard for most people to imagine. Most people see the argument. They see the raised voices, the defensive postures, the harsh words, but the hidden forces method asks, what is driving this? Maybe one person is operating from old emotions that have nothing to do with today. Or maybe the other person's past experiences have made them feel attacked even when they are not. What if someone is avoiding making a decision? Most people see indecision or laziness, but underneath, what is most likely really going on is fear, self-doubt, perfectionism, or a deep need for safety before they can move forward. What about if someone looks frustrated and shut down? Most people see a bad attitude, but underneath there may be overwhelm, unmet needs, or hidden goals that are going unaddressed. People make so much more sense when you understand what is actually driving them. Now, before we go any further, let me take just a moment to introduce myself. My name is Deb, and my goal is genuinely simple. I want to help people make sense. I have spent decades studying psychology, human behavior, decision-making, communication, emotional intelligence, and persuasion. And the more I studied people, the more I kept arriving at the same conclusion. Behavior is only part of the story. What fascinated me was not just what people did, but why. Why do smart people make choices that hurt them? Why do caring people push others away? Why do people know what they should do and still not do it? These answers are always in the hidden forces, and I want to help you to see them too. Here is what I know for certain. There are two paths when it comes to understanding people. One path is full of confusion, frustration, misjudgment, and damaged relationships. That path keeps you stuck because you are only ever reacting to what is visible. But the other path is one where you genuinely understand what is happening beneath the surface, where you respond instead of react, where your relationships deepen, where you stop judging and start connecting. Everything in this series is designed to walk you down that second path. So why does this method actually work? 3 powerful reasons. First, you stop judging behavior and you start getting curious about it. Instead of asking, what is wrong with this person, you start asking, what is driving this person? That one shift changes everything. And second, your relationships become genuinely easier. Because when you can recognize the emotional and psychological forces affecting someone, you stop taking things personally and you start responding with real understanding. And third, and this one surprises a lot of people, but you start understanding yourself better. So many of the hidden forces shaping the people around you are also shaping you. This work is not just about reading others, it is about clarity, and understanding creates clarity. Think about every confusing interaction that you have ever had, every relationship that left you baffled, every moment where you looked at someone and just could not figure out what in the world was going on. Now imagine having a framework, a way of thinking that turns all of those scattered puzzle pieces into a picture that actually makes sense. That is what this series is going to give you. Here is something important to sit with. Two people can be standing in the exact same situation and have completely different inner worlds. One person sees possibility, freedom, and growth, and another sees danger, risk, and threat. Same situation, completely different hidden forces at work. Neither person is crazy, and neither person is wrong. They are simply being driven by different beliefs, different past experiences, different fears, and different needs. And once you understand that, conflict starts to dissolve, compassion starts to grow, and people start to make sense. Throughout this series, we are going to go deep into each of these hidden forces. You are going to learn how to understand people more deeply, communicate more effectively, strengthen your relationships, develop real self-awareness, and start recognizing the hidden patterns that are playing out all around you every single day. And I want to give you a heads up that something bigger is coming. I'm going to take you through a full masterclass where we will discuss the art of reading people. And this is where we take everything in this series and go even further. People are not random. There are hidden forces beneath every action, every reaction, and every decision. And when you learn to see them, everything changes. If you want to jump straight into the masterclass, the link to join is right below this video. Drop a comment and let me know, what is one situation in your life right now where understanding the hidden forces could genuinely change things? I read every single one. So be sure and subscribe here so you don't miss that next video in this series, because we are just getting started. And what comes next is going to shift how you see absolutely everything.